Major check-in, thank you.
Racing with a little bit of gap back to the GT runners, and it's merged from pole position. The two Audis line up behind them. Degrassi, oh, he hit the inside guardrail. Exactly the same thing has happened in the
Okay, crew, so we need to make sure that we've got the engine blanking in. The tyres that are there will stay with the car.
Number 51, come into the box.
Stay tuned to find out who's going to stand on the top step of this podium.
To start off the third season of the FIA World Endurance Championship, our first stop on the calendar is the United Kingdom and the legendary track that is Silverstone. And there was an air of royalty as we launched at Kensington Palace earlier in the week. His Royal Highness Prince Michael and Her Royal Highness Princess Michael of Kent were guests of honour. And as we all know, there are some new and famous faces on the block to heat up the competition. But before they get onto the track, it's smiles all round as the drivers gather for a family photo. So after a long winter, 27 cars will line up on the grid to go racing.
We are here, third season, 3 big manufacturers.
The return of Porsche and will be very interesting.
Exciting winter, of course, testing these new cars, so that we finally can start racing at Silverstone. It's very welcome.
Our Grand Marshal here at Silverstone is a legendary British driver.
I've had some great races here. I've driven Formula 1 here and I've driven sports cars many times, and I've won here a little bit here and there. So, you know, this track means a heck of a lot to every young British driver today, and of course even for old people like me.
After a long winter break, the FIA World Endurance Championship is back. And as well as some new teams, there are also some major technical changes in 2014. And before the race begins, the anticipation is building in the paddock. In the GT Pro category, it's the number 51 Ferrari. Off the back of their victory, they now have a new driver duo.
This year I'm with Tony Villander, like the last race of last year. And so I'm very happy, we go very well together. And like with Giancarlo in the past, so that's a positive thing. It will be very strong, very difficult against our rivals Porsches and Aston Martin.
The number 97 Aston Martin was so close and yet so far last season. So can they turn their bad luck around as they celebrate their centenary?
We lost it in the last round, very disappointing. But yeah, we want to fight again for the championship this year, and we try our best what we can do. Maybe already it was a good start here in Silverstone.
The Porsche number 91 and 92 were strong last year, and they're back with an even better lineup.
It's every time different philosophy, and every car have a very strong point or other point a little bit different. But most important, this is a global package, and I know that I have a really great package this year, and we will try to push a lot.
It's a strong field of Ferraris in the GT AM category, so can the 8-star continue to shine? Aston Martin are back with their Danish crew, and also they have the addition of Pedro Lamy. It's a small field at this first event in LMP2, and they are all powered by Nissan. G-Drive have a fantastic lineup, and the two cars of SMP will benefit from the experience of Nick Manassian. And then it's LMP1, and after a long time coming, Porsche are back racing in 2014, and they've got a team of great drivers.
For me, we're the team of the future, but still now we have to do the right step in 2014, and kind of we are the beginners, you know, among these manufacturers, the strong competition, and we have to learn and we have to grow together. That's very important.
Toyota have changed around their driver lineup slightly, but they are back fighting. And the question is, will the technical regulations work in their favour?
We have 1000 horsepower kicking our back end out of corners with the front and rear hybrid drive. Capacitor, it's phenomenal, it's really cool stuff. Let's try to beat these guys from Germany and then we're all happy.
Then it's down to Audi. Can they continue to dominate? The technical regulations may have hit them slightly, but as Tom Christiansen says, it's down to the drivers to adapt.
We have seen a little bit in the prologue that it's very important that you deliver a perfect laps, and that's always going to change a little bit depending on traffic and depending on driving style, and trying to always hit the target is a great challenge.
Now you've met them all, let Season 3 begin. For this round's 1 minute with Denis Chevrier, it's not about the technical side, but the beauty of the cars out on track.
Hello, welcome in Silverstone. Today we'll speak about the GT car. What is a GT car? First of all, you need to have as an origin a prestigious GT car. Road GT car. You have some Aston Martin, you can have some Porsche, you can have some Ferrari and everything. And to make them eligible to compete in the World Endurance Championship, they have to fulfill with some technical regulation. And to compete, you need to permit some aerodynamic device, as this front splitter, as these rear wings. You need as well to permit some evolution of the bodywork, as for instance there to permit exhaust. You need as well to permit for the car to be very efficient in terms of aerodynamic. You need to permit some flat floor to permit, and as well you regulate the height of the car compared to the ground. In fact, many things which are very sensitive in terms of the performance of the car. The very final stage is to have some very nice, very powerful race cars competing together on a quite fair capability in terms of performance. For that, there is a process which is a balance of performance, which permits, depending which is the basic strength of the car from the road car, to approach, to compare it, and to make on a grid all the cars very beautiful, and which permits to some very talented driver to operate and to provide a very nice show to all the fans which are looking there.
So now you've seen them up close, it's time to see them on the track.
Well, the fans have arrived here at Silverstone Circuit in cool temperatures, and they're ready to witness the first of the World Endurance races of the 2014 season. And I have to say, they're a dedicated bunch.
There is a unique spirit, and somebody said to me last night, but we hope it doesn't rain on Sunday. I said, that doesn't matter. The British are crazy, they're going to come whatever the weather. And that is the truth, you know. And I think there is a very special spirit for racing. You just go back in the history, and there's some great countries that have had, you know, you've got France, which probably the first Grand Prix ever was held in France, and so on. I mean, the French and the Germans and the Brits and the Italians have done a tremendous amount for racing for the last nearly 100 years. I think it's, you know, I think the British fan is pretty special.
Fans are special, and so is the World Endurance Championship, as it gives them the opportunity to meet the drivers and get that all-important photograph and autograph.
I was made for this. Happy Easter.
Cold, but the people are hot.
It's a sea of people and the excitement is bubbling, but for now they must take their seats in the grandstand. There's an air of celebration on the grid here at Silverstone, but for the drivers, it's tense. This is where their job really begins. And currently, the weather conditions are looking to worsen. For Aston Martin, it's a special weekend at their home race.
It's his 10th anniversary of Aston Martin Racing, the new Aston Martin Racing, so a small celebration as well, so maybe a birthday cake afterwards.
Who better to take advice from than somebody with numerous titles under his belt, including many Le Mans titles.
Everybody here wants to finish, and the whole essence of this race is to finish it, because unless you finish this race, you ain't going to finish Le Mans. So you've got to finish this race, you've got to have everything in order and not make any mistakes. The cars don't let you down, and then after that, well, you know, you just want to do as well as you can. They'll go as fast as they can, but they have to just think that little bit about endurance today.
Well, on the home soil of Aston Martin, it's Ferrari who have taken their first pole in the GT AM category, and with young British driver Sam Bird at the wheel.
I've won here the last 2 years in World Series and GP2. I want to make it a hat-trick with Ferrari.
Well, on their home circuit, it was a disappointing qualification for the Aston Martin racing team. But to cope with the English conditions, who better than a British driver at the wheel?
We didn't quite get the setup right in free practice and qualifying, and I think we've worked out where we went wrong, and hopefully we got a good race car underneath us. If the weather changes, normally the Aston's very strong in those conditions, and you know, even if there's a bit of a gap after the first couple of hours, if it goes to rain, then maybe we've got a stronger car in the wet conditions, and we can close it back in towards the end of the race.
Well, putting in the second quickest time in the Pro class was the Porsche, and another British driver at the wheel, hungry for a home podium.
We have to be flat out from the start. The weather looks a little bit changeable, which I hope it might turn out to be, because it gives us a chance to mix things up a bit. It should be exciting.
Tire choice will be an issue, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have many different options. We just have to hope we pick the right ones and the others don't.
Well, tyre choice is, of course, critical. And here, the pole sitters in the car number 51, reigning champions in the Pro category.
It's really cold, so
we cannot based on a normal tire choice, even if it's raining. I mean, we need to take in consideration the really cold weather and the lack of temperature on the tire. And I will think that also the LMP1 and P2 cars will struggle a lot with the tire temperature. So I think also up in the front we will see some interesting moments.
Well, ahead of the GT cars, and we come to the LMP2 category. And sitting on pole, it's the number 26 car of G-Drive.
At the moment we have our plan for the normal race, but I'm sure everything will change. Sean says then I have to keep the car on the racetrack, be fast at the same time, and if we do that we can win.
Well, for the LMP1 category, qualifying was very close. Porsche third on the grid, but can they convert that to a higher finish in the race?
It's always good to be on a fight with the other car. Already we have the performance. Now we have to find a very good reliability. So our car is not setting for Silverstone. We have very low downforce, so I think it will be nice the first few laps of the race, but after will be possible more difficult.
So to the front of the grid, and reigning champions Audi are in second position. But with the weather conditions unpredictable, how will they fare?
It's important to remain calm and see what's happening. At the moment, for sure, it's a slick start. It's long corners, so temperatures in the tires will be kept long. But it's fantastic. So many people here. It's a wonderful job over the winter from all the teams, and to see so many people coming in at the first race in this cold is fantastic. So let's get it on.
Well, Tom looking very relaxed, but not so for the Toyota, as they have pole position by just a cat's whisker. How is ex-Formula 1 driver Alex Wertz feeling?
Well, it is what it is. It's the same for everyone. You just have to deal with it. Now, actually, it's quite a calm moment because everything is decided. We are here on pole, and you have to deal with the weather. So, yeah, let's see how it goes.
So we've heard from the front two drivers, and obviously all eyes are on the skies as this rain is inevitable. There's 27 cars all lined up on the grid, so let's get season 3 underway.
Certainly at the beginning that could be a mix-up because the cars are effectively out.
Will the rain come or won't it? That's the question, as teams now rush to change the tyres. For Audi, they've gone with slicks. The tension is mounting, the cars are in place, the fans are awaiting, and it's time for the first race of the season.
So just so you know, there has been some rain around the track as we've been waiting on the grid. It's been very, very light, and with the wind, it's drying out the track quite quickly.
Derek Bell is the Grand Marshal of the weekend, and part of his job involves waving the cars off, as we've seen. So the green flag lap underway, and the cars getting some heat into the tyres. It's Alex Wertz then on pole position with Toyota Racing, and just alongside him in the Audi Sport, it's Luca Di Grassi. Second row is made up of the first of the Porsches, and alongside him Lotterer in the next of the Audis. Then we have Sebastian Buemi, ex-Formula 1 driver in the Toyota, alongside Bernhard in the Porsche. Next is the two Rebellion racing cars of Bellici and Heidfeld. And then in the LMPC category, G-Drive Racing on pole with Olivier Pla alongside Matsuda. The SMP racing cars line up side by side with Ladigen and Manassian. And in the GT class, it's Bruni versus Tandy. Row 8 sees Makowiecki alongside Rion in the AF Corsa. And Sam Bird making his debut alongside fellow Brit Darren Turner.
Of the race to stabilize the speed. GT cars, please form up in grid. GT cars, please form up in grid.
Well, the cars making their way round to the start-finish line and waiting for the race to begin. 6 hours ahead of us here at Silverstone, and you can see Toyota and Audi side by side. Who will it be to take the lead early on? It looks to be the Toyota of Alex Wurz, taking a very good start there. On board with the Porsche, and you can see how quickly the Toyota and the Audi are pulling away as we just see Lotterer coming alongside Buemi there and coming through and pushing away as the cars are side by side coming towards turn 3. One of the heaviest braking zones of the circuit, and also one of the best opportunities for the cars to overtake as they come now towards the Wellington Straight. The GT cars coming through then, and the field still very closely bunched together. And here we see the Audi coming alongside the Toyota as they push to get through, and it just doesn't quite happen for the Audi. Toyota maintaining the lead with Wurz there as they come through to complete the first lap, and Sebastian Buemi running very wide as they come through the final turn there. He's got to be very careful with track limits. Joining the GTE Pro battle then for second position between Tandy and Mako. On board with the Porsche number 92, unable to close up at this point. And the battle continues in the LMP1 class between the number 2 Audi of Lotterer chasing down the Toyota, and he just doesn't have the same speed on the straight. So coming into the Brooklands complex, and it's Toyota, Toyota, Audi, Audi in the early stages of this race. On board with the number 1 Audi there, and you just see how fast they're going through the corners. Now this is a quick circuit, and you'll find there's only 4 points where the cars are really braking heavily, and it's flat out from the old pit straight and through to Copse and the Stowe Beckett's complex as we see the replay there of the Audi going through the Toyotas. Here we join the Pro battle in the GTE class then, and it's Nick Tandy on board there, closing in on the Ferrari of Jimmy Bruni. And the Porsche's running slightly less downforce this weekend, but certainly proving that they've got the speed on the Ferrari. Well, the LMP cars coming through traffic. How do they go about sharing this Silverstone circuit?
I think that's got more difficult for the drivers. I have to say it's become more difficult because they've made every car, they're making them so equivalent, if you're not careful, that when they brake for a corner, you know, 6 different classes of car can all brake at the same distance. And the thing that we had, I'm not saying I was hundreds of years ago, but in that era, you know, we could always outbrake the slower cars because our cars had more efficient brakes.
Well, of course, times have changed quite dramatically since Derek Bell's era, and here we see the battle continue between Tandy and Bruni, and Tandy gets through to the Brooklands complex there, just braking a little bit later and making that look quite easy, I have to say. They've definitely got a pace, and here it looks like a Ferrari sandwich as we join Mako on board, closing in on the car as well, and it's Verlander looking slightly worried.
Information to the pit wall. The track has been declared wet. This means all cars must have the rear rain light on.
Well, a warning from the race director Eduardo Freitas that the rain is coming, and the drivers must be prepared for that. As we see Mako try to make the move on the Ferrari of Bruni, and can he do it? Yes, he can, in fact, at exactly the same place as the other Porsche of Nick Tandy. Got through as well. Bruni tries to make the battle through as we just see a slight lack of grip from the Porsche, but they hold the line perfectly as they come through the corner. And will there be contact? Not quite. They've kept it clean at this race. Well, here we see a replay. Oh, as the LMP1 car of the Audi number 2 almost slides himself into the back of the GT car in front of him. Look at this from the onboard footage as he almost takes it in, slides through to the left, runs wide on the circuit and back over to the right to pass the car. Well, we join Sam Bird now, who is leading the GT AM class in his debut weekend in the WEC. Sam coming from a single-seater background, but he's given up the fight for Formula One despite being third in the Formula Renault 3.5 Championship and running up in GP2 last year. So Lotterer ahead in the Audi with Alex Wurz chasing him down as they come along down the old pit straight. He takes a look behind him. Can he dice to the left or to the right to get through? He's certainly trying very hard as they go flat out into the Copse corner. Disappointment for SMP Racing as the LMP2 number 27 pulls off the circuit. No idea what the problem is there. Well, the rain coming down here at Silverstone, and one of the Audis in the gravel number 1 car. That's Luca Di Grassi. And there's a lot of damage to the front on the car. We'll try and get a replay to see what happens as Christensen looks on, calm as ever. Well, here we see one of the Porsches coming in. They're missing a tyre on the front left-hand side of the car. Whether there's been contact between the two, I don't know. No, here's the Audi accident on board. Straight into the Armco there. Wow. So the number 14 Porsche in the garage, and work begins.
Come out, I crashed.
Very disappointed, Lucas Di Grassi. He has to admit to his championship leading team that he's crashed. There's the number 2 Audi, then still continues, but runs very wide there. The circuit is getting very wet. It's very greasy, and the cars are struggling for grip. Well, he's rejoined the circuit, but he's given that lead away to Alexander Wirtz in the Toyota. And again, just a slight twitch as they change gear. Well, slick tyres coming out.
Okay, Andre, for now, the rain should have stopped. The rain should have stopped. We're going to keep monitoring it, okay? 1 Toyota is on slicks, 1 on inters.
Well, Alexander Wirtz on the inters. That's why he is getting away as the conditions dry. And let's see what's happening with the Porsche of Romain Dumas.
We don't know exactly what happened. For sure, by safety, we changed a quarter of suspension, so it's take around 20 minutes. So yeah, we will try all those things for the other car and to improve for the future.
Well, they need to improve, as does the Audi at this point. Lucas Di Grassi back in the pits. He's limped it home to see whether or not the team can repair the car. Number 14 Porsche is ready to get back out onto the circuit and rejoin the race. And it's another off for the Audis. Unbelievable bad luck they're having this time. What on earth has happened? Let's find out from the replay as they come down into the corner. Just losing the back end and spinning round. And then the car flicking through to the kitty litter. Well and truly embedded there.
Okay, Andre, can you get restarted?
No, I'm stuck.
Okay, understood. Wait with the car.
Now we hear from Lena there, the engineer, on the radio, telling him to wait with the car, and now bringing it home to the pits, just to have a once-over, I should imagine. Will it be a tyre change? He's changing the drinks bottle for them. Yep, tyre change, and they'll get back out and rejoin the race. A disappointing start to the World Endurance season for Audi. And a replay there of the GT cars, the 2 Ferraris, the pole sitter alongside Ben Collins, as it looked to be a little bit of contact. And here we see the 14 Porsche. They've got back on circuit, but there seems to be a problem.
Hydraulic out. Yes, try to limp off.
Well, limp home they have indeed, and once again back in the garage. This feels like deja vu for the number 14 Porsche. Let's take a driver's view of Silverstone with a driver, Derek Bell.
It's changed so dramatically that I haven't been around here for 2 or 3 years, and there's a lot more corners. It makes it really hard work for the drivers. And of course, the cars grip so well, they're so quick around the corners, and you watch and you go, my goodness, he didn't even slow down. But of course, at the same time, one mustn't forget, I'm going about the car now, they don't have to shift gear anymore, it's all done up here. And because they've got their left foot not going up and down on a clutch. So therefore they save a lot of energy, and of course they have air conditioning. We used to sit there in 150 degrees temperature.
Well, of course, it was always harder back in the day. And hard it is for the number 7 Toyota, who started from the front row in pole position, currently lying 3rd overall.
No, not so happy, because first stint was okay, was quite nice racing a bit. And then our weather forecast said it's gonna rain a bit more and longer, so on our car they decided to put me on the rain tire, and that was clearly losing us so much time. So the second stint was very frustrating.
Join a replay here. What's happening? It's the Audi across the grass as the Toyota spins.
We are having reports of heavy rain between T6 and T7. Heavy rain between T6 and T7.
Well, that's the number 8 Toyota heading into the pits. And with the reports of rain, they're still going with a slick tyre. There's a driver change as Buami gets out and Lapierre gets in. Thumbs up, and the car leaves the pit nice and smoothly. On board then with Lapierre on his exit lap. And here we see the Porsche number 20 of Bernhard. They're sitting 1-2 currently. And now it's time for the Porsche's pit stop. Bernhard out. And that looks like Brendan Hartley getting in. Young New Zealand driver. Again, he's come from a single-seater background, but he's been in the endurance racing now for a couple of years. So, as we see now, the battle continue between the AF Corsa number 51 and the 92 Porsche in the GT Pro class as they come down under the Silverstone Bridge towards the Brooklands complex. And the 53 Ram Racing Ferrari in the GT Am class, just ahead of the pole-sitting AF Corsa. That's Ben Collins and Sam Bird going head-to-head there, two British drivers, former Stig, of course, and Ben Collins. And the gap between them, very small. Well, it's been a dramatic race so far. What an opening start to the season for the World Endurance Championship. And here the Toyota number 8. With Lapierre driving at this point, making it look very simple as he cruises around this circuit, barely lifting into many of the corners. It's a flat out for around about 2/3 of the course here at Silverstone, all 18 corners, of which make up almost 6 kilometres. And back on board there with the number 2 Audi as they chase down the Lola in front of them. Now they're the LMP hybrid with the Audi, coming past the LMP lightweight of the Lola and just showing how much more power the hybrid cars have over the lightweight cars. And here we see the first of the Porsches coming in for the pit stop. That's Nick Tandy out of that one. And here you see the aerial shot of a very grey Silverstone circuit. Well, the 51 Ferrari in, a Bruni in the car still. As we see them come out through the pits, how will this battle continue between the Ferraris and the Porsches in the GT class? 92 Porsche in next. Again, a tyre change. I believe that's a full pit stop. And here we join at the number 91 Porsche. Second, I believe, in the GT Pro class at this point. And you will notice there are lights on the sides of the cars, and that gives you a very good clue as to who's lying in first, second or third in the particular categories. It's been an epic battle so far between the Ferrari and the two Porsches, as now the 91 Porsche takes the lead from the 92 car. Let's hear from Mako.
It's a big fight on the track between 91, 92 and 51 too. The problem is the conditions are really tricky because we have some small rain on the track sometimes, or heavy rain, not heavy rain, but the rain where we need to put the rain tire. But our car is really, really good. The team do a great job in the pit stop, and now we will see. It's still several hours before the end, but we have the potential to go to win.
And I'm sure the Ferrari would like to say they have the potential to win too, as we see the GTE Am Ferrari there of AF Corsa just behind the Aston Martin, racing at home here at Silverstone. And talking of home races, let's hear from Ben Collins.
We ran a harder tyre in qualifying, thinking that we'd be amazing when the lights went green, but we didn't have the pace, so that's why we lacked pace in qualifying, but we cracked on with it, and then it rained. I got to the front, which is awesome. So, you know, we're setting the pace in the wet in our class. That's nice. And then eventually it dried out, which was not what we predicted.
And we've got a fire in the pit lane. That's one of the AF Corsa cars. It's number 61. They look to have got the fire out, and that could have been disastrous. Well, joining the GT battle now, as the Ram Racing Ferrari car comes ahead of the Aston Martin and very closely followed by the Ferrari there as they come into the Luffield complex. Aston getting side by side the Ferrari as they exit that corner, and there's contact That looked almost deliberate from the Ferrari and the Aston. But they pull away down the old pit straight side by side. So at this halfway point, it's the number 8 Toyota leading, and in the LMP2 class leading the number 47 KCMG car, with the 92 Porsche leading the GT Pros. The GT Am, it's the Aston Martin Racing car number 98 that leads. Well, away from the track, there's plenty of fun to be had. Whether it's riding the fairgrounds, grabbing a quick burger, or even taking on the spirit of Le Mans. And for the fans, the drivers put on the show. And for those away from the circuit, the WEC put on quite the spectacle. Try your hand at driving, test your adrenaline for a bit of zorbing and trampolining, and witness the very famous pop bang artist Ian Cook creating with his remote control cars. Whatever you enjoy, the WEC has something for everybody. We're back on circuit, and that's the number 2 Audi of Ben Trovier. He's gone off into the gravel, and I've got no idea how that has happened. Let's see the replay. He just seems to hit the curb, and that's kicked him off to the right, as then he's come straight across to the left and hit with some force through the gravel into the tyre wall. Well, remember, in this championship, it's not over unless the driver has moved 10 metres away from the car, and Ben looks certain to be getting that car moving.
Restart the engine. Is it possible?
I can restart the engine, but I don't think I can steer.
Well, the team there trying to encourage him to get the car back to the pits, and the safety car has been deployed. Whether or not he will get the car moving, look at that, both tyres at the front facing the wrong way. He's got no steering whatsoever, but he's giving it a good go as he now embeds the car fully into the kitty litter. A disappointing start to the World Endurance Championship for Audi, as that's now both cars out of the race. Well, while the safety car is out, it's opportune time for the cars to pit. A driver change in the number 8 Toyota there. And here the number 20 Porsche, with now Mark Webber, Aussie Grit himself, making his debut in the WEC this weekend.
For information to the pit lane, safety car is going to do one full lap and coming in at the end of this lap.
So safety car peels in, and it's time for the race to begin once again. Conditions have been tricky so far. Let's hear from Brendan Hartley in the pits.
Very tricky. There's a little bit of water on the windscreen for the whole 2 stints. So just using your backside to feel what was going on corner by corner. So yeah, took it pretty cautious. The main goal was to get it home today, sitting in 3rd place. So I think so far it's going quite well.
Meanwhile, back on track, it's a pair of Astons fighting for the lead. Celebrating their 10th anniversary, this is their home race, and it's now car number 98 leading from car number 95. And it's another fire in the pit lane for another of the AF courses, really sitting very calmly in the car as the team now get the extinguisher straight onto that and get the fire out. What is happening with the AF Corsa team this weekend? Well, back on track with the LMP2 battle for first position, and it's the 47 car ahead of the number 26 car driven by Julien Canal, who's moved this year from the GT Am class to the LMP2s. Let's hear from his teammate Olivier Pla.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job at the moment, trying to pass the KCMG car. So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen later, but we will try to keep pushing like that and to do our best.
been 4 hours of action-packed racing here at the WEC.
Yeah, front left giving up a bit. Massive on the Silverstone. Understood, mate. Understood. Had the same handling with the other two drivers. We're not an issue. We're not an issue. Okay, mate. Copy.
Well, Mark Webber on the radio to the team there, complaining of massive understeer in So, and being told pretty much to get on with it. Here we see the leading number 8 car of Anthony Davidson coming through traffic and past the Aston Martin, as now the other Toyota pits once more. Let's take a moment to hear what Derek Bell thinks of the hybrid technology.
I mean, it's got to be good for the future of racing and the future of motor cars worldwide. And I think when all these manufacturers and all the people here are spending so much money on this sort of future development, then of course it has to come out in the products at the end of the day, and it has to be a benefit for everybody on the street.
Well, great to hear from Le Mans winner Derek Bell once more as we join the LMP1 battle on track, and it's between two former Formula 1 drivers at this point. With Sarrazin in the Toyota, number 7, and closely following behind, closing the gap, it's Mark Webber in the number 20 Porsche. And here you can see Mark Webber has got through. Incredible bit of driving from Mark. He really closed that gap up quickly, and as he's come through, he's gone straight into the pits. Let's just see a replay as he comes down the straight, darts out to the left and comes round nicely. Well, here once again in the LMP2 class, the leading G-Drive car driven by Julien Canal. He started on pole in that car, and they'll be pleased that they're carrying through in the lead.
We may have some rain in 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
So hearing on the radio that there's rain due in 20 minutes. It was forecast here. It's been very unpredictable so far at Silverstone. And here, the number 91 Porsche. Another driver change, and Nick Tandy back at the wheel of this car as we see a beautiful aerial view of the two Porsches in the pits. Number 91 leads just ahead of the number 92 car, so that's a Porsche 1-2 in the GTs. And here we can see the number 90 Ferrari of 8-Star Motorsports has had to retire. They've pulled across the AstroTurf, and Portoliccio calls it a day. And here the aerial shot of the Toyota leading LMP1 car as they come almost flat out through many of these 18 corners here at Silverstone and accelerating down the straight. On board now, and it's starting to rain.
In a few minutes, slight rain should start and should become heavier. In this case, we should change the tire and probably put back Seb in the car.
We have reports of rain between T14, T15, and now here on the main straight.
Well, while the rain continues to fall, let's take another look at the number 2 Audi of Ben Treluet as he gets that massive impact into the Armco that throws him back across the circuit, forcing him to retire. Louise was with him in the pits.
Honestly, I have been really surprised by what happened, and I still have no idea what exactly happened, and we have to investigate. For sure, I was on the curb. It was the first thing we've seen, but my feeling was I didn't even steer before the car went off. So it's a bit a scary feeling, and we have to investigate to know exactly what's happened, but it's not happening anymore.
And Matt Griffin in the gravel. Professional driver Matt, he's got a lot of experience behind the wheel of the Ferrari, especially this weekend as he's been racing with the ELMS as well. He's well and truly buried.
We have reports of heavy rain at T8. To be advised, we have reports of heavy rain at T8.
Well, welcome to the British weather, of course. Not staying away here at Silverstone. The rain is getting heavier and the wet tyres are out, as are the umbrellas. It's pit stop time as the drivers prepare for the wet weather. Here watching the number 20 Porsche of Mark Webber, making his way around the circuit. Wet tyres on for the other Toyota. As you hear the engine kick in just slightly late. It's kind of eerie as you hear the hybrid technology. And the circuit beginning to look very wet from that aerial view there. The car's treading very carefully. Mark Webber comes into the pits to get his wet tyres on, I should imagine.
All three cars are in wet tyres. tire, all 3 cars in wet tire.
Well, just over an hour remaining and the rain falling heavily as we're on board with Sebastian Buemi. Let's hear from his teammate, Lapierre.
It's the most heavy rain we had since the beginning of the race. So we took the safe choice to put a rain tire on the last stop. Yeah, the margin is quite big, but in this condition, everything can go very quickly. So we're happy to be on the same tires than other car. It's a safe choice. We'll try to keep the gap and to finish the race as we start.
Well, the same story for all drivers. Now let's hear from the Porsche garage.
Just checking the times. We're on the drying wets right now. And it seems like the Ferrari just went to the full wet. So looking at the sector times, but I think we'll be okay on the drying wets as well.
It's not to be really tricky to drive. I get some aquaplaning a little bit.
Information to the pit wall. We are expecting heavier rain within the next 10 to 15 minutes.
And rain it did, making conditions at Silverstone treacherous and causing safety car to be deployed.
Mark, is it fun? Is it dangerous to continue? Question. Oh, you could never restart the race like this, the standing order now, because it's normal what happens when the safety car comes out. It's the right call, because now the water is too heavy, and then with a slow car speed, the water, the track fills up.
Flag, red flag, red flag. Safety car will finish this lap, and cars will stop on the start-finish line. Safety car will finish this lap, and the cars will stop on the start-finish straight.
Eduardo Freitas, race director, calling an early finish to the first of the 6-hour endurance races after weather conditions became just too difficult.
Okay, Seb, good job, good job. Race will not restart. Race will not restart. Good job. Cool. Thank you guys.
The first 3 cars will stop under the podium.
Well, that just confirms that Toyota have won the first of the World Endurance Championship races here at Silverstone, and it's celebrations all round.
Yeah, exactly. We are so delighted to finish first and second, for the first race. What a better start, so really happy. We will enjoy this moment, and it was really tricky in the end, so I think the race director took the right decision to now stop the race.
And for Porsche making their return to endurance racing, it's celebrations indeed. Their hard work has paid off, and they've got a 3rd place.
We're learning a lot, and those races for us to get home, there was so many procedural things which we can improve on, but for us to be with these guys, Toyota deserved the win today. They drove very, very well, all conditions, very quick. That was it. We're just absolute virgins. We're rookies, and we're here, and to have a bit of a lucky result, to be honest. Obviously, there was a few own goals with Audi and a few guys slipping up, but that's motor racing. So we'll take the podium in our first event.
Well, in the LMP2, it's G-Drive Racing on the top step with KCMG in 2nd and SMP Racing in 3rd.
This was wet, sometimes it was drying wet, and it was quite difficult to keep the car on the slicks, and we can see what happens with Audis, with Porsche, so we're happy because all the team did a great job, and the victory is a good recompense for us.
For the GT AM, it's an Aston Martin 1-2 at their home race with AF Corsa in 3rd.
Down there on the podium for our last celebration today for Ferrari, Aston Martin Racing, celebrating 10 years Aston Martin Racing.
We had a good fight with the other Aston, and it seems that we're going to be really close this year between the 2 M Astons. So yeah, it's really fun.
And the first podium for the GT Pro category of the season, and it's a Porsche 1-2 with Aston Martin in 3rd.
We were lucky that we won this race at the end with the safety car. It was similar to Le Mans last year, so Good strategy by the team, fantastic teammate with Fred being new in the team. He's a fantastic driver in person. Also with Marco, he did a fantastic job. So really happy. And unfortunately, I'm only third driver this year, so I'm only helping out sometimes on the weekend. But I really enjoy driving at WAC and working with the team.
Well, a fantastic start to the season with Toyota finishing 1-2 and third overall Porsche Racing. Derek Bell's on the podium and will present the race winners with the prestigious Tourist Trophy. It's been a fantastic start to the season and it's set the scene for more epic racing to continue throughout the World Endurance Championship 2014.
Speed and strategy are key. World Endurance Championship.
Storm has just come in, so you are P1.
Winning is the mission. Racing in traffic. A sprint during 6 hours. One goal, one aim. Winning the 6 hours of Spa-Francorchamps.
We're ready. What about you?